Welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic Live. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. The orientation is wrong on the stream. I apologize. But folks, we've got big news out of the state of Minnesota. Do me a favor, please smash that like. Do chat. Do chat in with where you're from. So here we go. It's out of Minnesota, folks. This is big because we've got this fraud in Minnesota. And interestingly, I actually spoke with some government employees today about this. The government employees are ticked off about the whole thing as well, but it's going to get even crazier. So do go check out my sponsor, MyPillow, mypillow.com/lumberjack for big savings and the best sleep products available, folks. And go over there right now, free shipping on everything. So great deals. All right, but let's get into it. So Liz Collin of Minnesota, you guys I've had her on the show. She did the documentary, The Fall of Minneapolis. She's been doing the Lord's work, and we have 87 counties in the state of Minnesota. That's why this video is titled The Fraud Just Went Up 87x, because I want you to listen to this report. So she did a whole video on this, but I'm just going to give you the meat of it. Information request finds Minnesota is laundering residents' property taxes to NGOs. So, we talk about property taxes and how evil they are because obviously if you own the property, why are you paying taxes on it? And if you don't pay the taxes, who takes over your property, right? The government does. And just the last year alone, they've laundered tens of millions of property tax dollars to hundreds of NGOs. Now, folks, this is county level. So you look at the fraud on the statewide level with Tim Walz, right? And it's bad. It's very bad. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars. But look at this. Ramsey County has the highest property tax rate in the whole state. So we decided to file an information request at the Ramsey County office asking how many NGOs each year receive property tax money. And you got to be thinking to yourself, folks, at this point, why on earth is the county government sending money to NGOs? So you pay your property taxes, and what's that supposed to fund? A lot of it's supposed to fund schools, okay? Oh my gosh, this is nuts, okay? 2 months of repeatedly being ignored. So Liz Collins filed this. 2 months, they were repeatedly ignored, stonewalled, and it was only after they went directly to one of the Ramsey County commissioners that they were finally able to get at least some of the information that they requested. So apparently governments just feel like, hey, FOIA requests are we could just ignore them, okay? Turns out last year, Ramsey County gave a whopping, folks, get ready for this total. Here, in fact, let's do a little lumberjack logic chat moment here. Give me a guess. Now, understand this is a county, not a state government, not a federal government, so don't start guessing billions and all this stuff. But how much money do you think Ramsey County gave to a total of 213 NGOs? Ramsey County, Minnesota, it's down in the St. Paul area. How much money did they give to a total of 213 NGOs? Let's get some guesses. We got 1.5 million. We got 200,000. We got 300 million, 36 million, 650,000, 15 million, 300 million, 60, 330, 2.5, 1.5. Lots of guesses here flowing in. Somebody got really close. I'm going to go back and see what it was. Matt Bank Sinker guessed $36 million. The total was actually $38.4 million from a county government in the state of Minnesota to 213 NGOs. That's a lot of money for a county government, folks. $38.4 million. And they spread it out across 213 NGOs. So, interestingly, I was talking with some county employees today, and government employees, state employees, all this kind of stuff. They're all freaking out. They're like, how can this even happen when we have to account for a $10 expense and it takes us 2 weeks to get reimbursed and we have to justify it every way to Sunday? So it's not your county employees that are doing this, okay? They're just doing jobs, whether it's a county health nurse, a plow truck driver, whatever. They have to account for every little thing. In fact, you can't give them gifts. You can't give them gifts. Like, for example, I remember one time I was in sales, and I was selling to a government agency, And I just figured I'd pick up lunch for the guys. I mean, the sale was already done, so whatever. I mean, I was just buying them lunch, kind of become friends with them. They couldn't take the lunch that I wanted to buy them. Okay, and some of you have probably worked in government before. Okay, so they're not supposed to take lunch from you. Well, isn't it interesting that they can't take lunch from you, but yet these politicians at the highest levels are defrauding us of billions of dollars? So then I was like, well, I mean, there's got to be. So what happens in some of these county budgets, folks, is if there's money left over at the end of the year. So if you don't understand how government works, it's use it or lose it. So if a state agency doesn't use up all their funds, they lose the money. That's why there's always this big push at the end of the year to spend all this money. So there's no incentive in government to save money, because then your budget gets cut and you don't get a reward for that. You would think that if somebody saves money in the budget, well, that should almost be looked upon as a good thing. But apparently it's bad. So they have to use up this money. So at the county government level, sometimes what's happening is they'll have a little bit of money left over, and then they give it to these NGOs. Could be a health system. It could be whatever. Well, I think that should be done away with. I mean, where are you guys at on this? I do not think we should be giving leftover tax dollars to non-governmental organizations. I don't care if it's healthcare systems. I don't care what it is. Okay? So, where are you guys at on this? I don't want them giving. Why should these, if it's a non-governmental organization, they don't get our tax dollars, period. Period. And that money then gets saved and gets applied to next year's budget. We could actually have surpluses, whatever. This is just insanity. I've actually, run my own business. I've run businesses for other people. I've managed budgets, all of that. Never in my life were we trying to spend everything. And if we had leftover, because we didn't spend it all, then just try and get rid of it to some, just some other organization take it. This is insanity. Okay, back to my little readout here. This is happening at a time when there is a 9-point, listen to this, folks. This is Ramsey County again, Minnesota. This is happening at a time when there is a 9.75% property tax increase in property taxes in Ramsey County as well. So the citizens of Ramsey County are now paying an extra 9.75% tax increase, and we're finding out that $38 million has been given out to 213 NGOs. And the citizens have to pay more taxes. This is insanity. So they're spending $38.4 million on 213 NGOs, and now they want more? And I will guarantee you, folks, this isn't just happening in Ramsey County, Minnesota. It's happening in other counties as well. I happen to know it's happening in other counties because I talked to county workers today. All right. But I need to give you a win on top of that bad news. I'm here for you, folks. I'm serious. I got to give you a win now. Again, do go check out MyPillow, mypillow.com/lumberjack. Get some of those Giza sheets. They will change your life. I'm not just saying that. I will be covering Mike's announcement on Thursday. I think it's going to be Thursday at 10 o'clock on whether or not officially he is running. He did file, but he is holding a presser on Thursday at 10. So if you want to catch that, I'll be there. Just mark it in your calendar. Okay. Mark Levin, this liberal on X, said this. This is so awesome. This is so awesome. Because you guys have been watching what's going on at the Supreme Court, I'm sure. I want to do a specific video on that and talk about the arguments that have been brought forth. But listen to this. He is freaking out. The Supreme Court is on the brink of a decision to give even more unchecked power to the executive branch at the expense of the legislative branch. For nearly a century, Congress has been able to create independent agencies that enforce the law without fear of political retaliation. That structure protects the public, and both parties have relied on it for generations. Both parties have relied on government agencies to create laws so they don't have to take hard votes in Congress. That's what he should really be saying. Now, The SCOTUS majority seems ready to sweep aside that long-standing precedent and give any president direct control over agencies that were designed to be independent. Folks, how many of you believe that government agencies are independent? How many of you believe that? Do you think there's any independent government agencies out there? Yes or no? Independent government agencies. This is the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life. Liberals are freaking out all over the place and trying to use this argument. It's dumb. This could put more than 20 agencies at risk and weaken Congress's ability to ensure fair, consistent enforcement of the laws we pass. It's yet another dangerous shift of power away from the people's branch and toward unilateral executive control. It undermines the separation of powers at the heart of our Constitution. The founders envisioned a government that answers to the people, not the whims of any one president. No. Who has control over the executive branch of the government? Now, we are able to oust the executive, or we're supposed to be able to oust the executive through voting them out. If the executive can't fire the people in the executive agencies, who can fire them? And if they can't be fired, is that a fourth branch of government that is what the deep state is? Seems to me like that's the deep state. All right. This is going to be a monumental decision on the Supreme Court. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be as big as Chevron. All right. And also, Tom Homan is looking at Ilhan Omar's immigration files over alleged fraudulent marriage to her brother. I think, folks, I did a video yesterday. I hope you saw that on Ilhan Omar and her dad, because her dad really shouldn't have been here in the country because he was actually fighting with the regime in Somalia that was committing genocide. So those people typically aren't granted asylum. Somehow he got in here. That's how Ilhan Omar got in here. And I did a whole video on it. It was a little bit longer, 12, 13 minutes, because, but I chopped up other stuff to try and make it a little shorter for you. But that's the deal there. But Trump administration border czar Tom Homan said in an interview Monday night on Newsmax that he had asked for the immigration records of Representative Ilhan Omar to be pulled for his review over allegations that the Somali refugee married her brother to help gain residency in the United States. President Donald Trump brought up the allegation against Omar while speaking to reporters in the Oval Office last week. Omar appeared on CBS's Face the Nation on Sunday, but was not asked about the alleged immigration fraud. Of course not. CBS would not ask that question. And I've got a bunch of video clips of Ilhan Omar. Sorry, I was out today. I was helping somebody else with their business, and anyways, it was a fun day. I mean, I had fun. I love growing business. I love selling and doing all that. So it was fun to do that work. But I was unable to get any videos done. But I did want to get this one out because this is a big issue. You know, we have all these counties in Minnesota, and there's fraud going on, I'm guessing, at every single one of them, or they wouldn't consider it fraud. They just consider it going to NGOs, and the NGOs are using that money however. And since that money is being handed out to these NGOs, do you think these NGOs might be trying to buy political favor? I mean, all of this is so ridiculous. But that's what it is. Again, Mike Lindell, I think he's going to run for governor. I mean, there's an announcement on Thursday. I'll be down there for that. But do go support him, mypillow.com/lumberjack, or call 1-800-568-2865, folks. Look at this, man. I've been talking about these towels a lot lately, but these kitchen towels are fantastic. They are absorbent. They are antiviral, antimicrobial. They are great cotton. Also, there are American-made. I know a lot of you like American-made products. American-made merino wool socks. Okay, that's a new product they've got over there. And I might get some video from the Pillow Factory while I'm down there in the cities. We'll see. But anyhow, folks, thanks so much for listening. I don't know. I want to see more people going to jail. That's what I want to see. I want to see our money returned to us. I'm just tired of it all. I really am. I want things to move faster. I'm really frustrated with the Senate right now. because they're not getting Trump's nominees confirmed. Trump was caught on a hot mic moment talking about it, and then they're passing useless resolutions to condemn socialism today. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. These people they're not serious people. They're a bunch of, I mean, I could use cuss words, but I won't. I mean, this is insanity. I responded to some of them on X today because I was gathering this information for you. And then I watched a clip with Erica Kirk on Fox and Friends. Holy cats. That was just, yeah. So this movement was poised to win the midterms until Charlie Kirk's assassination. This has been one of the worst things that ever happened to this movement. And somehow, folks, you're going to have to pull together. Quit getting into these online battles. Let the people who are fools just make fools of themselves. And just keep talking about the conservative message. Don't idolize people. Not me, not anybody. People go off the deep end. Okay, some of you probably figure out what I'm talking about there. But it's just don't engage in that. We need to find a united front. We have big midterms coming up. It really sucks. It sucks. Blue slips and filibusters and whatever. Yeah. Remember, subscribe if you're new. We'll see you on the next episode, folks. Peace out.